What a week for the Dems. Two new candidates, Kamala and Java Man. Kamala is the Hillary of 2.0. We know because it's easy to predict a Democratic candidate. Just follow the mob. When Obama first ran, the press and pundits shouted to the heavens, we all know it's Obama. So everyone out of the pool. And then later, they all knew it would be Hillary. Until the orange Godzilla ambushed them. He showed that it's not hard to ambush a mob, especially a mob of lemmings. Just dress up like a cliff and they'll jump right off. This year, it's Kamala's turn. How do we know? I heard it from the lemmings.
Senator Kamala Harris officially kicked off her 2020 presidential campaign. Look at that crowd. She was home, and I think she was really strong, Joe. What are your thoughts?
I don't know about you, but the second I saw her up there, I said, wow, she's got what it takes. She filled that stage, and she can play in the big leagues.
They're gooier than taffy on a hot dashboard. So the lockstep begins, which is why Java Man is having a hard time.
Don't help elect Trump, you egotistical billionaire. Go back to getting ratioed on Twitter. Go back to Davos with the other billionaire elite who think they know how to run the world. That's not what democracy needs.
Someone got a day pass from the home. Of course, there's the view.
Your entry into this race will guarantee Trump another 4 years. And I know
I don't agree with you.
I know you don't.
I don't agree with you.
I know you don't.
And if he runs against a far-left progressive person who is suggesting 60, 70% tax increases on the rich and a health care system that we can't pay for,
I don't know about
President Trump is going to get reelected. And no one wants to see him fired more than me.
And no one wants to see you run more than him.
She's like a cold cup of coffee. So you hear the fear in their voices. Java Man wants to do what Trump did, say surprising things about new ideas, laugh at the press, drive the mob crazy. But there's a problem. The mob fears if he runs as an independent, he'll take votes from Kamala, handing a win to Trump. And they're right. Schultz is an old-school lib, and by showing up next to the clown car that is the Democratic Party, he exposes how far left they've become. He's not a socialist promising pie-in-the-sky BS. He's sane. The solution for the Dems? Pick one like him so no one flocks to him. Or watch how we run. Look at him. He's already committing the cardinal sin, going after the media's preordained choice.
Well, you just played Senator Harris as saying she wants to abolish the insurance industry. That's not correct. That's not American. What's next? What industry are we going to abolish next? The coffee industry?
Big mistake. Going after her. He'll last about as long as a pork chop in a piranha tank. So I am starting to warm up to this guy, Dana, because unlike the other people running, he's got the guts to go after the sacred heroes. I mean, he's going after Kamala, and I'll play some tape later of him going after AOC. And you're seeing the nasty reaction everywhere because he's making it hard for them to protect their choice.
Right, so they're sort of like united against him. The other person that actually went after the left by name for, I think it was AOC, maybe it was Elizabeth Warren.
Bloomberg.
Michael Bloomberg. But they're independent guys who are like, well, wait, like, I don't think we don't want to go that way. The freak out on the left is quite dramatic. And I think that they are looking to say, you know, my goodness, you're going to elect Donald Trump. Like, what are you doing? But I think it is just as possible that could hurt Trump, right? Because if you look at 1992, they say that if you look at, let's say, some people say, well, Perot didn't really have an effect because if you look at the data, Bush won Texas and Florida, so it didn't matter in the end.
Yeah.
But could it matter this time? The path to 270 is not necessarily easy, but that's how you elected Bill Clinton.
It's hard to remember 92. I was like 14.
Yeah.
I look great.
So cute. You didn't even have to shave back then.
Well, I wanted to, believe me.
You were older than 14.
Yes, I won't tell you how old I am,
First election I ever voted in.
Wow, really? Yeah. Interesting. I don't believe I asked for that information, but that's okay. Jesse,
Yes.
when The View has a nasty reaction to someone, I instantly like that person a lot.
Yeah, I'm starting to like this guy, Schultz. He lets me use his bathrooms at Starbucks. If you do nothing else, just do that, and I will vote for you. I don't like ordering the cup when it says venti. I want to be able to just say small. I don't like saying that. But besides that, I think he's great
But venti
for the
is
reasons.
large.
Exactly. I don't even know what it means. What language is that anyway? Okay. And who cares? But no, the point is, and you saw this radical yelling things at this guy, they're trying to turn the term billionaire into a slur.
Yeah.
Like being a billionaire inherently makes you a bad person. But here's the deal. This guy's a self-made billionaire. He grew up in the projects in Brooklyn. His father was a truck driver, and he created Starbucks out of nothing. And the left loves Starbucks.
Yes.
I mean, they pay their people well. They get great health insurance. Everybody used to love them, and now they want to boycott Starbucks because he could be the spoiler and ensure a Donald Trump second term, more Kavanaughs, more tweets. They're on a suicide watch now because the guy's got enough dough to get on the ballot in all 50 states and then blanket the airwaves with advertisements. So it's a total meltdown.
You know, all right, Juan. I think that Howie is a lot like you in the sense that he's an old school Democrat without a party. You know, your party is going way far left. And, you know, it's been hard. I think it's been hard for you. I'm like an analyst. I know it's been hard for you with your Democratic Party.
I'm in the middle of a psychology
Tell me how you really
session,
feel. But don't you think that he is sounding like a Democrat from like the 70s or 80s or even 90s? He sounds like Bill Clinton.
Well, he is like me in this regard. We both grew up in Brooklyn in the projects, so I'll give him that. But I didn't become a billionaire. I mean, he did.
Not yet.
Well, but he says things about Elizabeth Warren that I just find strange. I mean, he says that Elizabeth Warren's idea that you tax 2% on people who are worth more than $50 billion, he says that's ridiculous. I think, why is that ridiculous?
I bet he has an answer.
Or he says Medicare for all, ridiculous, stupid, that's un-American. And I think to myself, most Americans think that's a good idea.
No, but he was saying un-American in that getting rid of an entire industry. He was talking about
but she didn't say get rid of the industry. She just said you should be able to go to the hospital, and if you're in the hospital, not to have to go through, do you have insurance? Will your insurance coverage, company cover this? But get, right away, and that Medicare for all would guarantee
Doesn't that happen?
They treat people without health insurance all the time.
Right, that's bad. And
they don't turn people away at all.
But then what happens, Jesse? You and I end up paying with higher cost, and that's why American medical care is so
So you want to fire
expensive.
500,000 people that work in the healthcare industry?
I didn't want to get into the
people?
debate, but I will be glad to. But I just wanted to talk about him for a second, because I think a lot of the things he's saying out of the box that dismiss the Democratic ideas are out of touch with who voters are. The key point that he's making, and it's interesting that Steve Schmidt, who worked with McCain, I think Greg Stripple, who was also a Republican pollster, Bill Burton, who worked with Obama, these are his top people, okay? They were with him yesterday here in New York. And what you're seeing him say, 40% of Americans now identify as independents. They don't like Republicans or Democrats. They really are independents. The problem with that analysis is most independents lean one way or the other, and at the moment what we're seeing is huge numbers saying, I'll never vote for Trump. 56% of Americans in the latest poll never vote for Trump.
You just said that at the start, Juan.
But I'm just saying, so if that's the case, he's counting on independents who, in fact, are not there for the taking.
All right.
I mean, I think he's just a businessman, right? So he
Jed?
much like Trump, has an idea of what these policies do when they're actually impacting business. So when you look at a 70% marginal tax rate, when you look at Medicare for all he's saying is it's un-American to have a massive government overtake of industry. And he knows that it reduces the quality of care of those items, that top tax rate is going to cause, when you hike up that on people at the top, you're going to lead to job losses. You're going to lead to a trickle-down economics. This guy's been alive for a minute. He's a successful businessman, and he's saying these things sound great that Democrats are coming out and saying all these sound bites, this utopia that they want to live in. But when you get out of liberal academia, this stuff just doesn't work. And it's interesting because he used to be viewed as a social justice warrior. Starbucks was this liberal company. Everybody loved him. Right, exactly. Liberals loved him. And now they have to make it their job to destroy him and to destroy that company. Don't think they're not going to boycott
to your
that
point,
company.
the media in the Democratic Party are going to narrow the focus to the person they want, which is
That's right.
Kamala.
And they also, remember, the media liked Trump before he ran as well. So this is what they do. They might like you before, and then when they sense that you're a threat to far left policies now, this guy's going to have to be destroyed.
It's
and
like
you see it happening already.
When a Democrat tells other Democrats, you're going crazy, you're going off the deep end, that really hurts. It's like if you have a drinking problem and people tell you to stop drinking, you don't listen. And then when your friend tells you to stop drinking, you say, oh my God, maybe I should stop. Don't tell me that.
Never
I love to
drink.
Immigration enforcement and reform in the first 100 days. They should have rammed this through in the first 100 days. Rammed it through. Asylum reform, the chain migration. This stuff should have been done. But the president, I got to say, he was not well served even by his White House staff on this. They did not. Grace drives me crazy. They did not serve him well. That wall should have been funded. They should have done the asylum reform. They should have ended chain migration. They should have done immediate border turnbacks. If they had done that, oh my gosh, the whole world would look different today. Whole world.
And they would have kept the House.
Absolutely.
They would have kept the House. And that's because Ryan doesn't understand what this presidency was and is about. He fought it every way. He is an unbelievable never-Trumper. His speakership will go down in history, in my personal book, as a disaster.
No, it's absolutely shocking at every level. Joe, before we let you go, do you see that right now the president, his team at the White House, do they have the policy strategy, the chops to work with this divided Congress to actually move any significant legislation, or is this just going to be resistance mode for the next 2 years?
I don't know the answer to that question. There's a lot of transition going on. We have a new White House counsel. He's going to be inundated with subpoenas and other things. I hope he has the staff to do it properly. Barr won't be voted on until February, which I just don't understand why that's taking so long. I'm hoping that things will change with the new attorney general. But the truth is, we're in a civil war in this country, both on the Hill and in the country. All you have to do is look at Covington, Kentucky problem. We are in a civil war. This is going to be an ugly period. The leftists over 60 years have taken over education, politics, and everything. Conservatives didn't fight enough. And now we have a great president, a wonderful president, phenomenal instincts, and we don't have the troops to help him, and it's a disgrace. Republicans should all be ashamed of themselves.
No. Joe DeGenova, we'll see you on TV soon. Thank you so much for your analysis, as always. You're listening to the Laura Ingraham podcast. Let's go to Tom on the line from Rhode Island. Tom on the shutdown. Tom, go ahead.
Hi, Laura. I just think the shutdown is, it's come to a point where there's no choice, And when you look at there's people on the left who are saying that the crisis on the southern border was manufactured, and when you really when you look back to Speaker Ryan being in charge of the House, it just seems like he was never going to do anything. And when you look at his background, he used to work for Jack Kemp as a speechwriter. So Jack Kemp wasn't,
Jack Kemp was more of a these issues were not the types of issues that were really at the fore when Jack Kemp was around and vibrant in Washington. But look, Paul Ryan has never been for the Trump agenda on immigration. I mean, we don't want to beat the drum on Paul Ryan. He's gone. Now we have to look forward. But it's a lesson. Do not be cowed by these left-wing attempts to shut down speech or to get you off your main focus. The president needs to pursue an aggressive policy on immigration. That means real reform. That means real enforcement. And only when that's done should they agree to any type of